And welcome back. Last day here at Pimlico for the 2023 season, and we are indoors. Keith, how's it going? We did have to cancel races on Saturday due to the hurricane weather that was coming in on our doorstep. So, but we're back. We're back in action. Of course, the track is looking pretty good. Let's have a good look at that track. While it is sloppy, it does handle water very well here over at Old Hilltop. So, we still have a decent day of racing, Keith.
We do. Some of these races stayed intact. We got hit hard in a couple, so we're going to have to deal with it. So it is what it is. I hope everybody's been safe dealing with this. Is Ophelia, right? Is what they're calling it. So, yeah, unfortunately, sloppy track conditions today. Get your mud breeding out. We've got quite a few horses when you really break it down, looking by some good off-track sires.
I agree. So we'll get into that in just a second. Let's kick off that early pick 5, though. And, of course, 10 races on the card. A couple mandatory payouts and a couple of different pools. Your early pick 5, of course, early pick 4. Those are always happening either way. But the late pick 4, late pick 5, and the rainbow pick 6, mandatory payouts on those.
Yes.
So here we have it. Claiming 16,000 for the 3-year-olds and up, which have never won 3/4 of a mile on the dirt. Scratching the 1, My Mamba, the 3, Rascally Rebel. Keith, let's talk about More Than Ready, Eddie. Your top selection. You have a nice feisty Fustel stat coming in for us, and let's see what we have for McGee.
Coming in hot right off the bat, right? Race 1, More Than Ready, Eddie, for Kieran McGee, who's had a good meet here. This is his home base, and he usually does quite well here with his runners at Pimlico. He does well with them pretty much anywhere. But the last 3 years on the dirt, 9 for 24, 38%, 16 for 24 in the money, with runners second off the claim following a win. And we saw More Than Ready Eddie kind of put it together over at Timonium last time out. There was a couple other speed horses in there. Was sent pretty good. By Barbosa, who's riding great. 3 winners, again on Friday. Get the lead, but, man, really took the rating. Once he cleared, relaxed on the front end, chirped him a little bit, maybe midway on that final turn at Timonium, and got it done. Now the attack mode, dropping right back at you. I don't really worry about that with this barn. Interesting that Grand Escape, another speed type, is in here as well.
Yeah.
But you look back on the page of More Than Ready, Eddie, he's shown a middle move on the dirt in the past. So I'm not so certain that he is a need the lead type in here, but on the attack is Kieran in the opener with Barbosa.
And there we have it. 2-6 Keith goes, and you also in your exacta, we have a nice video on Big Rowdy Dan from Mario Lopez. Jamie Rodriguez comes in, takes the call on this one. This was back at Timonium last effort out.
Yeah, picking up some weight, but some experience and a strong rider here in Rodriguez. And Big Rowdy Dan at Timonium, I thought ran quite well. Caught pretty much 3 wide, was even 4 wide, I think, going around that first turn. Makes a bid to challenge, and he actually takes a little bit of a slim lead here. Battles on very gamely to the wire. This is an improving type of 4-year-old here for Lopez. I think if things really heat up, he'll be able to drop in and work out a very good trip in this smaller field. Shouldn't have to worry about being caught too wide. I think settles in and moves up behind the leaders. A couple of these horses much faster than him early. But Saloon, I think, is going to take a lot of play. 7-5 on the line. Going to be very, very short. Off a dominating performance. Beat Lesser. Rode the wave of the racetrack. I'm going to have to see if he can bring it right back. He's a horse that's shown some talent. Obviously, they had high hopes. It looked like a little bit of a break, but came back. Yeah, that was a big, big run last time out.
And there we have it, 2-6-5-4, looking for some value there, as am I, with Keith Fustel in his selections there for the start of this Sunday's race card over here at Old Hilltop. Let's start back things, circle back to the early pick for Keith, your $24 ticket.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a later scratch here that kind of reduced the cost. I was up at 30, now I'm 24. Too deep to get you started. Vaccination and Succeed in race number 2, 5-10. Race 3, 1-4. 6-9. I think that's kind of wide open. Cloudy Night, I think, will be dangerous with that outside speed, and Rojas riding very well. Race 4, you've got the powerful entry. Paco Lopez is going to pick up the mount here. It looks like on Eldest Son. That entry stays together. As best as I know, it's Viper in there as well, and the 10, Flat Out Flying. I think might be the best price of those 3 in race number 4. Race 5, wrap it up with Hard Sting in Brasstown with Madison Oliver. Going to try to take them wire to wire in race number 5. There's your ticket, $24.
And there we have it. Keith Fussel's $24 ticket in this claiming 25,000. Going a mile and an eighth on the dirt. This is originally a turf event for the 3-year-olds and up, scratching the 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9, 11, and 12.
Yeah.
You have the number 10 on top, Succeed. This is in the barn of Raymond Gitzer Jr., J. Ron Barbosa, of course, won in that asking on the sloppy track.
Yeah, it did. I had to go to Thistledown, got the job done, but an improved effort at Timonium, got position, challenged Langley Avenue around that final turn, just wasn't quite good enough. Has positional speed in here. I think, we'll only have to deal with Stormy Fire maybe up front. But Vaccination is the staying type. I can see why you've got that one on top for Trombetta. It took a little while to get the maiden broken. Good try. Decent try. 2 back at Colonial on an off track, and a very good try on the turf. So there's your stayer. I think Succeed does get the jump on Vaccination. That final eighth of a mile could be interesting between those two.
And there we have it, 10, 5, 7, 8 to start off the early pick four with Keith Fusel. Let's go to that second leg in race number 3. This maiden claiming 30,000, 6 furlongs on the dirt as intended for the straight 2-year-old filly. Scratching the 5 and the 8. You have the number 9, and let's take a look at that effort with Cloudy Night for the Frogs. Now gets the blinkers on.
Frogs with a couple live runners. They got one here early, one late, but Cloudy Night nearly pulled off a 7-1, 6, almost 7-1 upset here at Timonium after just kind of an even debut at Timonium. Wheeled back quick, had trouble in debut, got bounced around, but was on the engineer, showed sharp speed. Chublin, just a little too good, but I love the fight this 2-year-old filly shows from the top of the lane home when collared. Sometimes this outside gets okay on an off track at Pimlico. I think might ride the wave of the track here. 6 furlongs stretching out. I think it's okay. I think it's within scope. You look at the second dam as well, talking about off-track breeding by Montbrook, one of my favorite horses and sires going back for the off-track type. So there you go. Cloudy Night, hopefully, in race number 3 on the front end. You've got a firster that you've got on top. Low Society, what have you got on this one here for Brittany Russell?
Taking a look at Low Society, of course, it's a Brittany Russell first-time starter. The sire is 50% on a wet dirt. World of trouble. So taking a look really quick, the dam, there's not much to show of the dam. She only had one try, and that was at the maiden 45 level. Among the dam's half siblings, 3 for 13 amongst the wet dirt, but 5, let's see, doing the quick math, 6, 8 for 13 in the money on a wet dirt. So the breeding on both sides helps out this one, which is why I just kind of gave a little bit of a nod. And, of course, World of Trouble, not a big sampling, but enough to where 50% on a wet dirt is enough to just grab your attention, of course.
Absolutely. And looking, I also touch on that. The second dam, I think galloped as a 2-year-old in debut. On an off track at Keeneland, if I'm looking at that. Couple other horses that might fall through the cracks after some questionable debuts are both of Damon's, who had a winner second out 2-year-old the other day with Mama's Lino. Great ride there by Barbosa on Friday to get it done. But Eric Brown's Girl and Neolithica, I think there's early wins in these two. Eric Brown's Girl maybe a little bit more with Barbosa. Heaven knows what as a horse I think we're going to see. Go ahead.
Well, sorry. Nope. Keep going with
your
thought.
Anyhow, but I think with an excuse there, a little awkward break at Timonium, but a win early, kind of a foul when looking at it, can handle the sprints. I think you'll see some improvement from this one.
Mama's Lino, another one that kind of had that. It's not quite the similar, but with these Timonium to Pimlico transfers,
we've had a few.
It's working for the Deal de Vigo team. Absolutely.
She had a really tough trip over there at the Big T to Mama's Lino. Okay. There you go. 9-4-1-6.
Yep. And we go on to the third leg, race number 4 in an allowance optional 40,000. Originally on the turf, now a mile and 16th on the dirt, scratching the 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, and 12. Keith, you have the number 10, flat out flying. I like this pick. And Cal Lynch, J. Ron Barbosa, as you mentioned, J. Ron Barbosa having a good Friday with 3 wins.
He's a heck of a meet. He's riding very well, very confident, making the right moves. As we've got a lot of capable riders. He's kind of the one right now, no doubt about it.
The thing, though, we have a tough colony, so to do that in this type of colony, that's something that's very admirable.
Flat out flying. You're looking at the off track, and what do we got here? 8 starts, 3 wins, a second, 2/3. Numbers stack up, and looking at the field. It's Viper, eldest son, a little bit of deeper closers. Again, flat out flying has been steady. I like the positioning this one's going to get, and is going to prove a tough customer, I think, to get past that last quarter of a mile.
And there we have it. As you go 10-3-1-8, you kind of wrap everything up. But the number 8,
Yeah.
you have an Irish Balloon, the other Cal Lynch
Hmm.
runner, Charlie Marquez, 2 for 2, going 1 and 2 on a wet dirt. So that's a
Yeah.
good backup to have, of course, with the other stablemate.
Yeah, it doesn't have really a ton of speed. Exaggerate. Yeah, it likes the off track, but I think more of a grinding type. I think flat out flying might be a little bit sharper early and go ahead and get to jump. But take nothing away. It's Viper, eldest son. These two have hooked up in the past. Similar styles. It's Viper now comes back on Lasix after a couple tries in stakes action. That race just got a little bit they got away from it last time out on the 29th. The speed kept going. I think it's Viper 2 for 2 at Pimlico. A little bit better. So very close. A good race 4.
It is a good race there in that third leg of the early pick 4. In that last leg of the early pick 4, in race number 5, also starts the Rainbow Pick 6. We do have a mandatory payout on that. And let's go ahead and take a look. That carryover climb, it's definitely going to be over 8 for sure by the time we get to race number 5. I gave you a super simple ticket. I could have, if you're going to go wide in this ticket, this opener, still I'm scratching my head a little bit out in it. I felt like the way this race develops, you could go a bit wider in there, but I go 4-9 and 2-4 in race number 6. Why not? I again, just keeping this a simple structure. That's a 4-horse field, so I just go 2 deep on there. Race number 7, 2 deep in the 5 and the 8. His name is Sue and Cryo on the outside for Russell. I think will appreciate it. Looking for that first win on that wet dirt. Race number 8, I go with the 4 and the 12. Johnny Z from Albany. I could have singled on Johnny Z from Albany. I really like that. I think that Timonium was just a step up. We'll get to that in a bit. Race number 9, 9, and 10, Boy Magic, and always a warrior. We're going to have a video on Boy Magic in a bit. And then race 10, in that maiden claiming 30,000 off the turf event, I felt like I was safe in going a little bit wider there. 3, 13, and 16, that draws off the AE list. $19.20 ticket. But let's circle back and get things going on the race that starts that leg in the start of the Rainbow Pick 6, last leg of the early Pick 4 in this claiming 8,000, a mile and 16th on the dirt event for the 3-year-old and up. If we could go ahead and talk about Brasstown, your top selection here for in the barn of George A. Delgado. Madison Oliver comes over and down south and gets the call.
Taking every advantage here with the weight in for the 6. You've got the bug, so comes in light, and I'll toss the race at Parks last time out. 1 to 2 shot exit right. This one I thought would be a little bit more aggressively ridden to try to get the lead. Was content to kind of sit back inside, but Exit Right ended up having everything his own way. He was able to dictate. By the time they hit the 3/8, Brasstown was kind of all in and all done. A little pack in, protected late, beating that part. So don't even let the beaten lengths scare you. I look at the race. Maybe Hot and Spicy Love or Lookout Lambo could kind of go, but I think this one's the speed of the speed, proven over and off track. Let's get to the front. Let's hope we can nurse and release and get it done here with the 9 Brasstown.
And you have the number 5, Hard Sting, also in your selections. Let's go ahead and take a look at Hard Sting from these past efforts. That's back at Parks, back in April.
Yeah, going back to April, freshened up here. So you've got the break, more of a deeper closer, but he's shown some races, Cal, where, the flow, not pace dependent to a point. He just kind of runs his own race from the back of the pack. Here he's going to sustain and make this steady, determined run to go ahead and get up. But was claimed out of this race by other connections. Somehow works back into the nest barn. I like that. You've got a protect mode here with this one coming back off the freshing with Rodriguez. Again, if Brasstown goes out and gets some company, Hard Sting, maybe your top selection of Cotty's Verve are your best sustainable closers in race number 5.
There we have it, 9-5-1-4 for Keith Fusel there in race number 5. And race number 6 is a starter optional 30,000, a mile and 16th on the dirt, originally on the turf. And we'll be right back to discuss that race after this commercial break.
And they're off.
as mentioned, this off the turf event in race number 6 has quite a few scratches. The 1, 3, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. Leaves a 4-horse field. Keith, you and I both have American Unity on top. Jamie Ness, Jamie Rodriguez. Stellar turf campaign season thus far for 2023. Comes back and tries the wet fast track again, the sloppy track.
Yeah, got to go ahead and stay here. And American Unity by Munnings, another one of my favorites when it comes to the wet tracks.
Okay.
You can depend on Munnings, the son of Spice Down. You got Curlin on the bottom side. And this one looks like he's kind of worked himself back into top form. Yeah, those numbers have kind of escalated of late on the turf. He's got good back numbers on the dirt. That'll get it done. Again, I think he puts himself into position. He'll stalk. He'll strike. Hunter Joe's the horse that intrigues me a little bit. They've tried a couple different things. He's going to try going long on the main track here. He's a horse that had some pretty big speed on the go back. I think you'll see an aggressive ride to go try to get the lead and control things up front.
Hammy Smith always training out there, rain or shine, so you have to include a Hammy Smith horse when we get a sloppy track like this. You also include the number 5, 110, Anthony Ferrier, Angel Cruz, one that is winless on a wet dirt, but you can have this one underneath a little bit, I think, now.
I think his races work here. There's no doubt about it. He's got some main tries. Might be a little bit better at the one-turn mile, but I think he's a staying type. Russell is going to ride. Maybe just kind of set yourself back, see how that track's playing. He's going to be able to pick the best path because he's going to be back early, and then he'll make that run from there. So I do think he works in here.
4-8-5-2 for Keith Fustel in race number 6. Race number 7 is a starter optional 12-5. 3/4 of a mile on the dirt for the 3-year-olds and up. Scratch in the 1, 2, 3. Keith, you got with the number 4 on top. Savoy, David Mohan, Jean Ovello. Of course, this one 4 for 9 on a wet dirt. All or nothing a bit.
It's the theory, Callie. First jockey I saw today walking in. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, man. And what, he had a couple of winners on Friday, right?
He two.
Two, yeah.
Two,
yeah,
I believe.
I think, yeah. And one was a prize from Milan Milosevic on the turf. I think he does a good job. I think he's underrated. You know, we've got all this big competition going on.
Agreed.
I can trust in Alvelo to get a good ride. I can trust in Savoy on and off track, I believe. This is a horse that thrives on and off track. A good run, a little tune-up going a half a mile, was really flying late down inside at Timonium. I think there's a slew of speed in here. Line number 2, the 7, Mosifus quick. His name is Sue, forward enough. Savoy on the off track can kind of sit back, watch what's going on, and make a firing run to get it done here in the 7th.
Speaking of his name is Sue, let's take a look at Keith Fustel's exacta play here. Back on mid-July. This was back at Laurel Park.
Yeah, this is, and running up and just missing. Galley works out a good trip, has to go between horses, dead game to the wire, charge to victory. A horse that kind of reeled off a couple wins in a row, if I'm not mistaken. So his name is Sue, comes in here with a record on an off track of 2 wins, a second, 2/3 out of 7 tries. That's pretty sharp. Hugh McMahon having a bang-up run here over the last month or so. You've got to respect his name. His name is Sue in here with Rodriguez. Another one, I think, not as quick as Mosifus, I don't think, or the 7. Doesn't want a part of that duel. But, man, this one can move up and spy those leaders.
And there we have it, 4, 5, 8, 6 in race number 7 for Keith Fustel. Let's go to race number 8, an off-the-turf event in this allowance optional claiming 40. Going now 5 furlongs on the dirt. Scratch the 1, 2, 5, 6, and 10. The number 12 off the AE list comes in, but you have the number 4 on top. Ship the Goods, Anthony Ferrier, Boca Chica, going to make a nice little dash here today. And, of course, Munnings, one of your favorites on a wet dirt.
There we go, back with Munnings again. And listen, I was back and forth. Johnny Z would not surprise me at all. Getting in here today with Rojas. Chased the duel over at Timonium. Just couldn't quite make the impact I thought, but I think back here at the bigger track might suit Johnny Z from Albany a little bit better. He's got a good try over the surface, right? Over in Pimlico, he ran back in that allowance, right? Preakness weekend ran really big in there. But Ship the Goods, we'll see. See if he can kind of come back once more. That was a little bit of a questionable claim off of a drop, and comes in, gets it done at Timonium. Does he have one more in him? We're going to find out. In for the 40. we'll have to deal with a little bit of other speed. But I don't think, again, he's like my horse earlier today of Kieran's. I don't think he necessarily needs the front, and that off track might move him up a little bit.
You have a commanding general underneath. I almost put this one on my ticket. Faith Wilson, Louis Garcia comes back off of. It's been a while since we've seen him back in the saddle, so happy to see him. But coming back off of this one also consistent underneath, but it has a lot of speed to kind of compete with today.
This is one where sometimes things happen out of the gate, and if Ship the Goods has a little issue, or maybe Johnny Z, this one's got enough speed to stay in there. He's fought it out on the front end quite a few times, so that you always have to kind of save a little hedge there sometimes, because the 412 something happens. This horse can definitely stay the trip. Garcia riding, a little bit of a tell. I think that one's going to be live.
Okay, there we have it. 412, 7-3. Ship the Goods and Johnny Z from Albany. Nice little potential showdown happening there in race number 8. Race number 9, an allowance option claiming 62.5 on the dirt as intended. 3/4 of a mile, by the way, for the straight 2-year-old. Scratch the 1, 2, 3, and 4. Keith, you have the number 9 on top. Let's go ahead and take a look at Magic in that first time out over at Delaware.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this was good. Money showed and did not disappoint. Good gate speed. I mean, it's a shorter field. This is what I like. In the first 1/8 of a mile, kind of gets surrounded. The first-time starter sometimes, Cal, I mean, you're a rider. I mean, I would think even when calling charts, sometimes horses get a little bit frazzled, a little bit uncomfortable with the situation.
Yes.
But Magic was like, no problem. I'm going to just shake you guys off and do my own thing on the front end. And he gets challenged again here past the quarter pole. But you're looking at Paco Lopez. Look how confident he is. Just a little peek back. Tells the guys, see you later, adios, I'm gone. A little nudge. Draws off to win by 4 and some change. Solid time comparatively against some multiple type winners, some better horses. So it's a good family. Mare was very fast, stakes winner, 7-for-14, 360,000, and I think off track shouldn't be an issue. Could be a really good one here.
He's a gray, so it helps him out that visually, just looking at him, he just looks like a brick compared to the others in that field. And like I said, the gray might be helping him out, so we'll find out in the paddock in a little bit. But it just looks the part as well. Catahoula Moon, who you have underneath for Jerry Robb, Xavier Perez. You have to include the Robb horses here for these third early starts out, but first time against winners here today, jumps up to the 62.5.
Excuse and debut, a little bit of a willing finish over and off track, and then another improvement, caught wide, stayed on, you see that, and then it got to the lead. Yeah, didn't switch leads too much. We'll see that sometimes, but I love the improvement that this one has made. I don't think, he wants any part early with a couple of these other ones, but I think he's got a shot to rally into it at an okay price.
Okay, there we have it. 97684. Keith Fustel. Anything else that particularly jumping out at you with your 6 and your 8?
Well, 6 again. I mean, Tim Keefe with a debut winner. We don't see it a whole lot, but that barn has caught fire of the last couple of weeks. Yes, they have. And this one, looking at the breeding, Blofeld, 15-16% off track, bottom side. This horse is kin to Le Weekend, capable dirt sprinter. So would not be a surprise if this horse transferred that kind of race over to the main track.
And there we have it, 97684. Keith Fusel there in race number 9. In our nightcap is race number 10, an off-the-turf event, but not without excitement. This is a maiden claiming 30,000. We have the scratch in the 2, 5, 8, 10, 11, 14, and 15, 13, and 16 draw in off the AE list, and that's where I attack. But Keith, you have some faith in Golden Charm. This is for Linda Albert. This is with Yomar Ortiz on top, returning back to a dirt, but gets a sloppy track for the first time.
Yeah, Lone Main Track Drive was good. It was a productive race. Northern Glow, New Rome out of there to win. Northern Glow, I think, right there in allowance. Type that for Brittany Russell. Second dam, 6 for 6 in the money on and off track. May not be quite as quick as a couple of these. A couple of these horses are pretty rapid through the opening quarter of a mile, so you got to get tied on. I think just the fact that this one can kind of chase and stay, some other ones might come back here in the nightcap. You're looking for a horse that's bred for an off track. Forgotten Gift by Bandbox is about 24% with the off-track runners out of a Not for Love mare. again, going back on form. Lone dirt race, pretty good. A rush up into a very quick horse like Pochi Bonsi, had to steady back and kept on trying to the wire. Gets the right kind of racetrack. First off the claim. Question, just wheel back a little quick here for the Frogs.
And there we have it, 6-12, 16-9 for Keith Fusel there. And that's our today at the races for our last day of Pimlico for 2023. So, but let's dive into these a little bit. Your best bet is American Unity in race number 6, Jamie Ness, Jamie Rodriguez.
Yeah, I just think this one's back in top form and has shown the ability, turf or dirt, catches a field that's a little bit off their game. Hunter Joe's going to be that one. If it's anybody's going to upset it, I think it's going to be that one on the front end.
And your value play is the next race in race number 7 in Savoy for David Mohan and Jean Avello.
Yeah, recent numbers aren't jumping out at you, but he's got big races on the go back on and off track. I like the tune-up at Timonium. There is going to be a wicked pace, I think, in this race. He can just let those guys go, sit, a very capable rider to come and get him.
And, of course, we wanted to highlight, of course, Friday everybody was kind of on their toes, seeing if Post Time would come back.
Yeah.
And here he is. We've got Alan Charles, very owner of Hillwood Stables. Extremely excited for his return back, but then this is the first ride that Sheldon Russell had on him. Of course, we were all anxious to see if he would behave in the post parade, and he did. So kind of he's had a year to mature, and he's had a year to grow up and be a man, and that was one of Brittany Russell's biggest, Sheldon's and Brittany's biggest compliments to him, is that he really has. He's a bit of a playboy, but he has really turned. He's brought back. He's been his post time, and the past couple of races he's done the wide sweep, and he went in between horses this time, which was a step up.
They've obviously worked with him, educated him, because we were all wondering what happened, I'm glad to see him back in the form he came back in. I mean, just with the plummet, that was beautiful. Was able to kind of nurse inside, got some kickback, shifted out a little bit, took a little bump, I think, working between horses, and just had plenty left going forward. Man, that guy's got some extreme talent. We'll see. I don't think they've gotten to the bottom of them yet. We're going to see, though.
I agreed. I think he's just coming back for that just came back for the 6 furlongs, had a little bit of action in between then, and exciting to see what's potentially to come of post time. But we'll save that for Laurel when we come back next weekend. And we, for right now, are going to take it to Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches. But thank you so much for joining us here at this lovely Pimlico Fall Meet that we've had, Keith.
A little bittersweet day, the last day at Hi-Ho for a while, it looks like.
Did you have a highlight for this meet? Off the top of your
I'll
head.
have to come back. I'll have to think.
I wanted to put you on the spot to see if anything came up.
Nothing right off the top of my head, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. But man, it's always good to be here. I enjoy this track. But hey, we're going to get back to Laurel, get back. Hopefully this weather clears out, get back on the turf as well. We've got an exciting fall moving forward. Maryland Million right around the corner.
It is right around the corner, and we will see you there at Laurel Park, where it is hosted. But for now, Dave Rodman for some more changes and scratches.
All right, good luck.